Hey guys, welcome back to another fun-filled day of science. This is your chapter 4, section 2. I don't know why I keep doing that. Chapter 4, section 2, how do population changes happen? This is me, Mr. Lewis. Go ahead and presenting this video for you. On the screen now, you'll see your bell ringer. Go ahead and read it and post it up there on edmodo.com. There we go. And here we go. Here are our objectives for today. Today you're going to describe some finches species of the Galapagos Islands. Let's start this again. You're going to describe how some finch species of the Galapagos Islands developed adaptations in response to their environment. You're going to describe the 4 parts of Charles Darwin's process of natural selection, and you'll explain how variation in each species occurs. Fun stuff here. All right. First off, we're going to talk about this man, Mr. Charles Darwin. Now, he is at the center of this idea of evolution, okay? He is the one that actually created this idea of evolution in a book that he wrote. Now, who exactly is Charles Darwin? Well, in the 1800s, there was a scientist, his name was Charles Darwin, and he decided he was going to sign on as a botanist on board a ship, and he was going to sail around the world on a 5-year journey around the world as the naturalist on board that ship. And what his job was is he was observe nature, he would draw it, he would make conclusions about things and bring new information back, hopefully back to the known world, so they would understand different things about the world. Now, his observations that he made as he was going around the world helped him come up with this theory about how change happens. All right, how do these species actually change? That's the thing that he starts coming up with from this journey around on the Galapagos Island. Now, unlike Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, who went back in time to find Socrates and Plato and all those other different famous people, Charles Darwin, his Excellent Adventure, actually traveled around the world. He got to start over here in Europe, and then he sailed down here around South America, sailed over here, that island there, that circle there is the Galapagos Islands, sailed across the Pacific over here to Australia, back over here through the Indian Ocean, all around here through Africa, and finally back here to Europe. Took him 5 years to do that. 5 years. Imagine being away from mommy and daddy for 5 years to go around the world on this sailing adventure. I'm sure it was a lot of fun and probably some danger too. But his excellent adventure allowed him to travel all around the world. Now, when we talk about the Galapagos Islands, this is where the Galapagos Islands are. Now, why the Galapagos Islands? Well, this is really where he starts developing this idea, the Galapagos Islands is, where he really starts developing this idea of natural selection and of basically what evolutionists have taken over as evolution. Okay? Now, what did he do? Well, the thing that really struck his attention were these finches, and I talked about it in a couple of videos ago. We talked about Darwin's finches. Now, what really struck his attention was when you start studying these finches and you start looking at them, first off, the body shape and stuff looks kind of the same, They look like the same kind of bird. However, if you look at the beak structure of each of these finches, you will see that the beaks are different for each of these finches. And he was amazed by that because they're all finches, but their beak structure was different. And what was even more fascinating was the fact that why these beaks were so different. They were different because of the way they had to obtain their food. Now, these finches here, these were finches that were found on the Galapagos Islands. There was finches that he'd seen in Ecuador when they were in Ecuador, and he saw that they had a lot of the same characteristics, but the beak structure was so much different than those in Ecuador. All right, and so because of that, he starts to write and study about this. Now, he hypothesized, his hypothesis was that these island finches were descended from those in Ecuador, the South American finches. And he thought that over many, many generations, that these finches developed those adaptations to help them obtain that food that they ate. All right, so that as they first arrived in the Galapagos Islands, now we'll talk in a later chapter, but basically he believes, I'm going to ruin it for you. Basically, he believes that a big storm blew all these finches over to the Galapagos Islands, and so these finches were there, and those finches that were better suited, who had a little bit different shaped beak, those finches were the ones that survived. The ones that didn't have the beaks that could obtain food on the Galapagos Islands, guess what? Those finches died off. And along with them went their genetic traits, with them their characteristics, their inherited characteristics. The ones that survived were able to continue passing on their genetic, their traits to their offspring. Now, he starts thinking ideas, and he starts thinking about breeding. And he says that at that time, back in Darwin's time, farmers and breeders produced many kinds of farm animals and plants. And plants and animals had traits that were desired by the farmers and breeders. And we do that today. All right. Now, first off, you have to understand what a trait is. It's a form of genetically determined characteristic. All right. But we look at that today, and we do the same thing still today, especially if you're a breeder. If you're a breeder of animals, you do this kind of thing because you want to find that animal. You want to create that animal that has the best characteristics. Now, dog breeders, when we typically think about it, we think of dog breeders. All right. When you think about a dog breeder, what they do is they take the best species, the best specimen of the species, and another good specimen of the species. They made them together to hopefully create a very good species. That's why you have the Kennel Club, AKC dog shows and stuff like that, because they're looking for the best of that species. All right. And that, how do they get that? They get that through selective breeding. Now, should we do that with humans? Should we find the best human and the two best humans and mate those and have the best humans? That's probably not such a good idea. But dogs, they have been bred for desired traits. Some of them have been bred, like our dog was bred to hunt bears and hunt boar. So it had to be a big dog, big thick neck and stuff. That's what Maggie is. All right. Now, there was a guy, his name was Thomas Malthus. And Thomas Malthus wrote a book, and in that book, it was called An Essay on Principles of Population. In that book, he noted that humans have the potential to reproduce rapidly, that we typically can reproduce every 9 months, bam, 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 bam. We could keep reproducing, indefinitely until our body stopped allowing us to reproduce. But we can reproduce forever, all right, until our body stops us from reproducing, all right. He said, but the reason that we don't do that is because there is starvation issues, there's disease issues, there's competition issues, there's predation issues. So our population of humans are limited because of those things. Well, if Thomas Malthus said that about humans, Darwin then took that look at that information and said, well, that must be the same thing with animals, because animals can reproduce and reproduce, multiple, offspring. But those things, starvation, disease, competition, predation, those are things that help limit the population size of any species, really. All right. And he reasoned that, well, I just said that. All right. Now, also, at the same time that Darwin was writing this stuff, another guy, or that he was doing these travels and he started to write his book, there's another guy, this guy's name is Charles Lyell, and he wrote a book called The Principles of Geology. And he said that basically, this is a bombshell to the world at the time, the Earth is formed by natural processes that happened over a long period of time, and that they were predictable. And if they were predictable, if these changes in the Earth were predictable, we're talking about geology, we're talking about the rocks, we're talking about the makeup of the Earth, that it happened over a long period of time, natural processes over a long period of time. If that happened to the Earth, well, guess what? Darwin believed then that it had to have happened to species as well. Why would it be different for the Earth and the species that lived on the Earth? So he ends up writing a book, and in the book, his book is called The Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. In that book, he proposes that theory of change in the population happens because of natural selection. Now, we talked about natural selection in the last video. Right there's a definition. I'm not going to read it for you, but right there's a definition. So let's go ahead and take a look at this again. Remember, there's 4 parts of natural selection. You got the overproduction, inherited variation, the struggle to survive, and the successful reproduction. All right. If you need to remember this, I like to use a little mnemonic. My mnemonic that I use is Oscar inherits spinal spasms. Oscar inherits spinal spasms. All right, so help me kind of remember these 4 different steps of the natural selection. Remember, we talked about this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but remember, overproduction, they produce a lot of eggs. Now, if you look here at the spider, it says 500 to 1,000 eggs that the spider produces. And then inherited variation, each of those individuals combine. In other words, not all of the not all the traits that those offspring have are different because they're a little bit from this parent, a little bit from this parent. And then you have the struggle to survive, where all of a sudden, not all of those 500 to 1,000 eggs are going to turn into babies, are going to end up surviving to reproduce because insects and predation are going to, and disease and starvation are going to kill them. And then you have successful reproduction, where those that do survive are able to reproduce and continue on with their life. All right. Now, genetics and traits. Now, Darwin knew that variation happened, but he didn't know why that variation happened. All right. And it wasn't until we discovered about traits and genetic information and how that genetic information was passed on from parent to offspring. That's when we really found out about this theory of natural selection, how it really related. He didn't have all the information when he started doing this. He just said that it had to have happened somehow, and this is kind of how it had to happen. Now, through the idea of genetics and inherited traits, now we're able to find out, okay, this is how the theory that Darwin had, this is how that theory actually works in genetics and inherited traits right here. All right, so guess what? That was the end of the lesson. This is your 4.2 section review. I will be quiet while you read and take notes. So go ahead and do that now. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. This is your 4.2 section review. You guys have a great day, and I'll be seeing you in the future.